So we're here at the home of Jewish Hasidic reggae artist Matisyahu. Thank you so much for being with us here on Shalom TV. It's a true pleasure and an honor to be hosted at your home. So you've accomplished so much over the past few years. Your first album, Shake Off the Dust, Arise, was celebrated and accepted worldwide. King Without a Crown was a mega hit and just broke into the top 10 in modern rock in the United States in 2006. The documentary film that you were in, Unsettled, in 2007, won the Grand Jury Prize for Best Documentary. Your song, One Day, was played as part of the NBC campaign and advertisement for the Olympics. And you were named by Esquire magazine as one of the most intriguing reggae artists in the world. Wow.
Thanks.
But one would say that one of your biggest accomplishments is your next project, which is educating young Jewish minds.
Well, I'm not actually doing the educating, but I'm going to be involved in that.
Involved in the education of young Jewish minds with this project, creating and building a yeshiva, Lamplighters. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved with that and how this came to play?
Yeah, our kids are five, one will be 6, and the other is 4, will be 5 this next coming year. And they were in school, the last couple of years, and I was nervous about the education process of my kids, being that I myself had a difficult time in school and struggled, and I would say what really wasn't until after high school and college that I actually started to really appreciate learning, and I didn't really want my kids to go through that same process of being first of all molded into a certain type. I didn't want to put my kids into a system that was like a machine. I wanted a school that would really honor my kids for who they are and help them to grow to be the best themselves that they could be, not to try to be something, some image of something or some type of some type of whatever that somebody else had in mind, So I was nervous about the whole situation and where to send my kids to school and what to do, and I really wanted a combination of things that I didn't really feel existed anywhere, and we met an amazing educator named Devor Kessler, and I really spoke with her about education, and I felt that this woman really is coming from the same place and really as I am and really understands education and is an extremely talented person, and we asked her if she would start a yeshiva, and she said she would create an education. She would be an education director, but she didn't want to start the yeshiva on her own, and she really would do it if there was a community of people around it that would help. And so we talked to a few of our friends and got together and created Lamplighters Yeshiva. And this past year was the first year of the yeshiva, and we're very happy with it, and want to just keep growing it and continue with it.
So from my understanding, the focus on this yeshiva is actually taking Torah studies and combining them with a lot of different elements like art, culture, science,
Right.
Things that are, I would say, very progressive, bringing it into the Jewish community.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell a little bit about that? What kind of arts? Is it music?
Sure. Well, classically within like the Jewish education system or Orthodox Jewish education system, there's a split between the secular studies and the religious studies. The religious studies are considered Kaddish, they're considered holy, and the secular studies are considered to be just sort of something that needs to be done. But I guess really what I do with my music and with my life is really try to mold and bring the two worlds together to show how Torah is within everything, you know, and Torah is within music. Torah is within. It's not just within the religious community, but it's in the world, and to try to really embrace the world, and that's the idea with the kids and the education, is to somehow to bring out the connection between everything, to show how it's all holistic and connected, interwoven together.
It's just really wonderful that you're coming together as a community and doing this. How is this idea being accepted in the community within, you know, Crown Heights and outside of the community? How are the reviews? How are people you know, accepting this idea that's a little progressive? I could tell you that I myself studied at the Yeshiva of Flatbush, and I have a very creative and artistic background, and I felt as a child that that part was missing, that whole arts, culture, and what you're calling secular.
Right.
So how is it being accepted in the community, the idea?
Well, we don't really know yet, because, you know, this is the first year and we're still a little bit under the radar, but definitely there's very established people in this community that have been a part of Crown Heights and the Chabad community for a long time, that have been very supportive of us, and we've gotten you know, a lot of brachas, we feel like, from the Rebbe and from you know, from a lot of people in the community to do what we're doing. So I would say it's pretty positive at this point, and like anything else, I'm sure that there is, you know, people who are not so positive about it, but we don't really care about those people so much.
Definitely. Would you say that your children, you have 3 children now, Baruch Hashem, and are they inclined in the arts? Are they involved? How do they feel about, you know, being around music and art? Creativity,
you know, I think is pouring out of them, and pouring out of all kids, really. I think it's a natural thing, and it's just that it gets sort of squashed as you get older. And again, the real idea behind our school is to really feed them, and to really allow them to create and be themselves and come to things and, you know, in their own way, guided, you know, obviously guided in a path, but to really allow them to be themselves.
Just living in the miracle, candles on my vehicle, 8 nights, gonna shine invincible, no longer be divisible, born to the struggle, keep on moving through all this hustle, head up.
When you go on tour, does your family sometimes come with you, or how is it for you? Is it difficult, you know, also bringing that Judaism and the religious views on tour when you're away from home?
Well, I guess my kids get a real mix, you know, because they have Crown Heights and they have, you know, the community where we live, and where everything around them is pretty much, you know, a certain way. But then, yeah, they come on tour, and they, you know, they're around me, and they're around my band who's not Jewish, and people that work for me who are not Jewish, and they're around my fans who are mostly not Jewish. They see the whole scene and everything that's happening, and they're a part of that, and they get to see the world, and I think they'll really get that real mixture, you know, because I think it's important that the kids should have identity, that they should know that they're Jewish and what that means, and they should feel good about that, and that they're part of something, but yet that they shouldn't feel that that's the only thing, and that makes them, you know, so that they should then look down on everybody else, you know. I feel they should be really have respect for the whole creation, you know, and but yet a solid identity. So that's what we're trying to give them, I guess. And not even trying, I think that's just what they're going to get from being around and growing up in this house, you know.
Definitely. So you just came back from Israel, I heard, and that you had a recording session. You recorded a few different tracks and music with some Israeli artists. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm working on a new record right now, and it looks like it might be a double record. It's going to have 2 elements to it, and one element is with the band that I play with, the Dub Trio, which is going to be a band record, The name of that is going to be the Akeda. It's based mostly on the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov, and that record, me and my co-writer, mentor, sort of spiritual friend, we went together to the Ukraine and sat by the grave of the Baal Shem Tov. We actually ended up, while we were there, a group of Hasidim came, and the only place where we could stay was in the house of a Ukrainian who was very nice, but whose father was known murderer of the Jewish people.
Wow.
So it's a little bit darker. The record is a little bit darker, and like I said, one of the main themes is the Akeda, you know. And a lot of it is the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov, and it's very, I think it has a lot of depth to it, and so that's one record. And then the other record that I'm working on is with a producer named Kojak, who is really a pop guy. He does like you know, Kesha and Flo Rida. He does a lot of like top 40 music, and me and him are making just celebratory songs. You know, it's just really feel good music and happy and upbeat dance music, basically. But with obviously with the spiritual themes and meaningful thing. So so there's like two projects. I'm gonna put them together, I think, and that's gonna be the next record. It'll be like a double record, and that's and then for that record that I'm doing with Kojak, we went to Israel. We worked with a bunch of Israeli musicians there, and so it's like a combination of these, like, you know, program beats with really hooky, melodic, upbeat music, but with these organic Middle Eastern instruments that give it like a little bit of a more texture and a little bit of a darker feel and more depth. So it's going to be very unique. You know, it's a progression.
I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say.
Would it be correct to say that you sort of started out in reggae with reggae elements and sort of progressed into rock, and maybe now you're talking about pop?
Well, it's always progressions, and it's always elements of different things. My music, you know, Shake Off the Dust was a pretty straightforward reggae record, but my live record, Live at Stubbs, and Youth and Light have all been fusion records, you know, and they bring elements of reggae. I would say my last record, Light, probably had the least element of reggae in it. But this record, especially the Akeda record, will have definitely some heavy, like, reggae elements to it. It'll be a return to a certain, it'll have a certain element of reggae to it. But again, it's all, the music is a fusion. It's always like, I'm always taking from different places, and being someone who doesn't listen to one style of music, you know, I really bring a lot of different styles together, and this is just an evolution of that. You know.
So you're sort of, how can I say, like the godfather of Jewish, reggae, hip-hop, Hasidic, so many things together. And there are a lot of artists that just, you know, follow you, look up to you, and sort of look at you as their mentor. I know that Nissan Zan.
Yeah, Nassan.
Nassan Zan, that
Yeah,
is somebody that you're working with.
Nassan would really be the one artist that I really believe in. You know, there's different guys doing different things, but Nassan, he's coming from a religious place. So his lyrics, as opposed to some other artists that I know that are talented but are not necessarily coming from that place. Like, Nassan is coming from a Torah perspective, and he's really infusing, like, the music with what I feel is some depth and meaning, you know, from, like, the Torah perspective. And he's a really talented rapper and writer, and he sings also. And so I I believe in him. I think that he can do good things.
How do you feel about everything that's going on with social media networks? I know that you have 1.3 million followers on Twitter, which is quite impressive.
Yeah.
Are you into all of that stuff? I mean, do you write on? I mean, are you doing this yourself? Do you tweet sometimes? Do you go on Facebook? Do you?
All the time, yeah. Like I said, at the shows you don't really, there's that separation between you and the crowd, and ideally every night you're trying to get to a place where you're creating music and it's one thing. Everybody is together, but you don't really have that kind of like just interaction, like talking or joking around or whatever. So on the Twitter and Facebook and all that, you get the opportunity to do that, and you get to show people what you're up to all the time, and people are interested in what a person's life is like, their normal life, not just when they're on stage, but what you have for breakfast, what you do during the day. So when interesting things are happening, I try to share them with people.
Can you tell me about some interesting conversations that you've had with fans?
I meet a lot of fans because I play a lot of shows, and a lot of people have stories, and a lot of people have had very life-changing or deep experiences with the music. Elijah is a boy that I met. I daven in the shul in 770 here, so it's a real community here. No one's afraid or shy to come over to me and ask me to do this thing or that thing or whatever. So there was a guy who's trying to schlep me over and over. There's a kid, his name is Elijah, and he really likes your music. He has cancer, and could you meet with him? And I kept kind of brushing the guy off because I get asked to do a lot of stuff, and I have to be careful with my time and all that. So finally I agreed to meet him, and I met the boy, and I kind of fell in love with the kid right away. And he was just very angelic. He's very angelic eyes, big eyes, and very pure, and beautiful voice, and knew all my lyrics. And he lost his father when he was a boy to the same disease, rare type of cancer. And we became friends, and we text messaged all the time and talked, and I surprised him at his bar mitzvah in Florida, and we sang together, and I hung out the whole weekend with him, and he would come to shows, and he showed up at a show when I was in Florida, and he was in his wheelchair, and he snuck out of the hospital. He wasn't supposed to leave, and he ended up getting sick, and getting sicker. And we had talked about writing a song together. So I said, okay, well, let's do it while I'm down here. And we booked studio time, and we were gonna write this song together. And then the next day he got admitted into the ICU. He was really sick, and he couldn't come to the studio. So we went to him, and we just with a laptop and a microphone, and we went there, and we helped him write a song about his struggle and what he's going through. And it was a long night. We were there for hours, and there were times when I wanted to just leave, like we couldn't get a good recording because the machines were beeping, and but we stuck it through, and we got the recording. And the next morning he passed away. And then we finished up the next day the recording, me and my friend, and it's called Elijah's Song. I think it's a really beautiful song, and we're going to be releasing it on the website and on iTunes, and people can give, all the proceeds will go to the family, to his mother. She's got other children, and people will be able to donate to the, I believe it's Chai Lifeline, or one of the groups that sort of helped me come together with him. So.
That's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Do you feel that there's a special connection with the audience because, most of the audience that you perform to, I'm guessing, is Jewish or connected to Judaism?
That's not the case at all. Like when I play my benefit show on the Upper West Side, most of the crowd will be Jewish. But when I play in New
Madison
Orleans
Square
or
Garden.
Guam or Hawaii or Poland or wherever I am, most of the crowd I would say is not Jewish.
And do you feel that there's an extra connection because of the things that you're talking about hope and believing and faith and?
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of the people, not all of the people, but a lot of the people who come to my shows are spiritually minded people or seekers, who are looking for something, and I mean, I feel blessed to be able to make music that helps people,
So I know that you worked with a few different labels before, and I heard that there might be a possibility that you're sort of creating your own label. You're in a place right now where you're sort of free to experiment with different things, collaborate with different people. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I got free from my label, from my record label, and I started my own label now called Spark Seekers Records. And yeah, so I'm sort of like this next record that I'm doing, trying to find the right home for it, the right place for it, and I have a lot more freedom to be involved in different projects. I don't have to get permission. If I want to put out, a record of, Hasidic Nagunim, I could do that, or if I want to put out an acoustic record, I could do that, or a live record, like my last record I just put out, Live at Stubbs Volume 2. I could do that, so it's a nice place to be.
So Matisyahu, thank you so much for having us at your home. And we wish you all the luck, and I personally want to commend you for this project.
Thank you.
As a person that comes from a Orthodox Jewish background, an artistic background, it's just phenomenal. It's really, I think it's just really groundbreaking. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure.
Every day I pray to get to know you.